This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask with your host, Dr. Judith Briles, on the Rockstar Radio Network. On the show today, you'll find out where book publishing is going and how to take advantage of it. How to identify and avoid publishing predators. What opportunities are emerging as the book trade evolves in new forms. How to avoid losing money, and much, much more. Join us now as a variety of publishing pros will deliver insights and strategies to take the author to the next level of publishing. It's your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. Brought to you by Author You and the Book Shepherd on the Rockstar Radio Network. And now, here's your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Well, it's always a great day in author land and publishing land, even though there's hiccups that we hear about routinely in our communications that so many of us get us online, which is really what we're talking about today. And the whole influence factor is what we're going to focus on. And in my hands, which is very exciting, in my hands, because I'm one of these people that love books. In fact, I love books more than sharks love blood. And I have in my hand a brand new book, hot off the press. And with us today is the co-author of the brand new book, hot off the press, which is called Klout Matters. So Terry Brock will be with us. His co-author Gina Carr can't be, but Terry is going to be able to walk and talk and share a lot of Gina's insights as well. And the real issue is that when you look at Klout, the question is, who cares? Or what is it? Or why does it matter? Or should I really drop everything and start embracing maybe what's the latest and greatest? Or is this a passing fad? Or is this a trend? I mean, what in the heck is this bloody thing called Klout? And so my guest and really expert really is Terry Brock, and he is internationally recognized as a business coach. He is a guru, and I have to tell you, he's a guru before they started using that as a common word in marketing and technology. He is an eloquent speaker, and I will share with you all that if you can get your bodies to Denver, Colorado in November, Terry will be here doing a very special book camp, is what we call them at authoru.org, a book camp on the whole area of cloud and social media and the latest and greatest in the technology, because this guy knows gizmos and gadgets like anybody that I know. So, Terry, welcome to Author You, your guide to book publishing.
Thank you, Judith. It's great to be with you today.
So, congratulations on your brand new book.
Thanks. It's kind of nice. You know what it's like when you get that book and you see it, it's like, wow, it really does exist.
Terry, I actually do, because I was going through a happy dance 2 weeks ago when I got the proofs in on my next book.
Yes.
And going through them. And as I was going through and found the one change I needed to make and got it back to the printer, I turned to John, my spouse, and said, I think this is the gem. And And you know, when you get in and you can have the tactile feel, and you can really actually see all your words in the visual format, it's extraordinarily exciting for an author when that happens. At least I think
Absolutely.
So. Yeah.
Absolutely. Actually, it was really cool. Yesterday, I talked to my sister, who she had received an advanced copy that I was able to send her. It's like, wow, my brother has this. It's amazing. When I hear, yes, she got it, it really exists. It's kind of an amazing thing. And I would encourage anyone that's thinking about writing to go for it and have it. That's an experience I think every person who is a thought leader, who has an idea and wants to express it, really should have. Go for it and produce that book.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, here, let me just give kudos to you, because here's what Harvey Mackay, who is a multi-New York Times bestselling author and came to the format with his Swim with the Sharks Without Being Eaten Alive book. But he says that Terry Brock and Gina Carr will show you how to engage with customers in this very fast-paced, ever-changing field. So use their proven principles to make your Klout score rise to the top. So, Terry, let's just really start out with, what is Klout?
Well, Klout is a way to digitally measure how much influence people have on the net and in real life as well. Often in the past we've said, well, this person is very influential. Well, this person over here is even more influential, but it was kind of a gut feel, very squishy kind of way to define it. Now, Klout is making the attempts to quantify that, to say, well, this person has a score of X versus that person's score of Y. And that way you can look a little bit more closely at who is more influential.
Well, I guess that begs to ask this question then, that when it comes to Klout, it's a numerical scoring. Who knows about all the mystery algorithms that people use, but maybe you can enlighten us a little bit. So first of all, how does Klout go about and measure what vehicles do they integrate into to decide if you're influential? And then secondly, I think we need to ask is, so at what score is who cares what this person says? and what's the other scores that you really should pay attention to? And then I guess lastly, that how we want to get into that, what can you do to raise your scores? And maybe we should also ask use the word manipulate. What do people do to manipulate? And are you going to get outed if you do that? How's that for a starter, Terry?
Well, that's a lot there, so we can take that a little bit at a time there and help me as we go along. But Klout gives you the ability to say, okay, of all these things I'm doing on social media, with Twitter, with Facebook, with LinkedIn, et cetera, what's really working? What's really getting through? And the beauty of Klout is it says, oh, here's a quantitative way to let you know how you're doing, if you're doing the right thing. And really what it's about, it's not about a score of having a score that mine's higher than you. Otherwise, we're becoming a digital world of elementary school playground all over again. Oh, I'm cooler than her. Oh, yeah, I'm nicer than him. And so what we look at is what you're doing, and it's not a matter of how many followers you have, for instance, on Twitter, or how many friends you have, or how many people are following you on Facebook, or others. What really matters is what really has mattered for centuries, and that is how much action you can generate and engage with people in a real-world way. So that when I put out a post, for instance, how many people really respond to that? How many are saying, hey, I like that, literally, and they click the like button? Or how many are reposting it? Or how many are saying, hey, I really like that on Twitter, and they're retweeting it? Or they're saying this is important. So to find out, here's someone that might get 2 or 3 retweets versus another person that might get a few 100,000 retweets, you have to say, okay, we probably could say reasonably the one person who's getting a few 100,000 retweets is more influential than another. And this matters because what Klout has done, the real essence of what Klout is about, as I like to say, is the perks that are available and how companies and brands can say, we want to spend our dollars with those people who are more influential. In the past, people would buy the use and the endorsement of certain celebrities. They might get a Tiger Woods, or they might get someone who is famous in this area or that area. And then the problem comes that if a Tiger Woods does something that people go, ooh, I don't like him as much, boom, it crashes real fast. But what you want is be able to have people who are genuinely influential in an area and then work with them and have them saying things about you in a favorable way. That's where it really matters. So I think that's what Klout is really about. It's connecting influential people with those who are in brands and connecting those, letting those brands use those influencers as, say, advocate marketing is what we like to call it in the book, using these advocates to talk about others and to say great things about you.
Oh, I love that phrase, advocate marketing. That's a great, and because I've always talked about having, joint venture partners to shout out with you. I mean, certainly we do that when we do book launches, and the like, which helps. So that I like, and I think what's very important, and I'm gonna, as we're literally, because you're in Atlanta and I am in Denver,
Orlando, Florida.
Oh, you're in Orlando. Well, 20 lashes for me here.
Yeah.
So you have warm weather, and we're all bracing ourselves for what we are anticipating is going to be a brutal winter here.
Oh, mercy sakes. Yeah, well, it's going to be brutal here today. I think yesterday it got down all the way to 81. Chilly 81, but we'll survive somehow.
Oh, that's not nice. All right, so I'm gonna let's bring up a very quick fact because you're talking about this marketing advocate and people shouting out and talking more about it. It's really critical for all our listeners to understand that they need to have the different kind of doodads and buttons, as I call them, on their websites, on their blog postings and things, that we have to continue the shout out about a deal. So if they're reading your blog, that you have all the social media icons that allows them to set it up on their Twitter page, it allows them to set it up on their Facebook page, so you can see those kind of what's happening. For example, I'll talk at the bottom of the hour at publishingatsea.com, which is a fabulous cruise that you want to market advocate with me to all your cronies out there. But I can see that right now 52 people are talking about it on Twitter. There's 52 pops out. There's 43 Facebooks going out, and there's 5 pinnings going on Pinterest. Nothing's going on in Google+. But that lets me know that there's some action and movement. Is that not correct?
Yeah, exactly, and that's the important part of marketing. That's what others are saying, not just that I'm standing up saying, hi, I'm wonderful, buy my stuff, but rather others are saying, hey, this is really good, and you start seeing a number of people, and a great number of people saying, hey, this really is good, you need to go get involved with this.
All right, so we have about 1 minute for our first break, Terry. Is there a certain medium that Klout pays more attention to than others?
Well, I don't think there's any one. I think that's why you want to study your market. In some areas, Twitter might be the best. In other areas, Facebook might be the best. And so there's no one answer. It's like you've got to decide what is right for you. But that's where we start studying this. And we get more serious than just, well, I think that it ought to be this way, or my gut reaction is this. Well, with all due respect, we don't really need to know what your gut reaction is. Let's look at the quantitative data and understand what's really going on. Our gut reaction, unfortunately, can be wrong.
All right.
It could be right.
All right, so when we come back, we're going to deep dive into the gut. With me is Terry Block. He is the co-author of a wonderful new book that's just popping, Klout Matters. I'm Judith Briles. It's Author You, your guide to book publishing.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these on the Rockstar Radio Network.
Is there a book in you or another? Author You will show you how to create, develop, and publish your book without being hoodwinked. If you already have a book out, you'll find a supportive and brainstorming community that's connected and creative no matter where you live. Author U brings in national experts for its book camps and annual author extravaganza held each May. It has regular meetings and delivers webinars for its members on timely topics. Through Author U's extensive network, members enjoy exclusive benefits, including significant discounts for a variety of services necessary to publishing. The Resource, its online book publishing news magazine, is content-heavy and it's free. If you want to create a book that has pizzazz, punch, and panache, Author U is for you. If you're a hobbyist or a casual author, it's not. Join Author U today through its website at authoru.org. Follow Author U on Twitter at Author U and on Facebook at Author U, where timely author and publishing tips and articles are posted daily. Author U, where the author goes to become seriously successful.
Change the way you publish online. WaveCloud is a new forum for authors to manage all their books' information in one place from start to finish, including pricing and listing summary. To learn more or sign up for email updates, visit wavecloud.com.
Every picture tells a story. And it's a truism that people do judge a book by its cover. Nick Sellinger and NZ Graphics have been in the business of producing superior graphic cover design and interior layout for self-published authors, independent and traditional publishers for years. He has developed a reputation for excellent work, fast turnarounds, and best of all, affordable pricing. NZ Graphics also produces ebooks and book marketing materials such as posters, sell sheets, postcards, bookmarks, business cards, logos, and more. Books designed for his clients have won multiple book awards, including Best Book Award by U.S. Book News, multiple Evie Awards from the Colorado Independent Publishers Association, Indie Book Awards, the San Francisco Book Festival Award, and Freedom Medal Award from Valley Forge. Visit www.nzgraphics.com or call 303-985-4174 for more details about making your book the success it should be. Mention that you are an FOJ, friend of Judith's, and that you heard about NZ Graphics on your guide to book publishing.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask on the Rockstar Radio Network. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
How would you like to build your credibility? How would you like to get more business? How would you like to sell more books? Increase your revenues, all with just digital influence. Well, that's what it's all about today. Terry Brock is with me. He is the co-author of the brand new book, Klout Matters, How to Engage Customers, Boost Your Digital Influence, and Raise Your Klout Score for Success. Terry was sharing a story with just how much clout can be an influential factor. How many of you have ever been on an airline? You've got a book reservation and you've got to change it, and they say, "Oh yes, we're glad to do that, and that'll be another $700,082 to change you to the next flight." They will really do that, but there are some outrageous change fees. So Terry, what can a Klout score do with a frequent flyer who's out there, someone who has some influence, but the travel agent or the reservation clerk is clueless about that? What can they do?
Well, there's a lot they could do, Judith. It's interesting. We had this, as I was mentioning to you during break, a friend of ours, a good friend of ours, J.B. Glossinger, is in our mastermind group. He's also the #1 podcaster in the world in the area of personal development. And he's got a large following, got a lot. Well, we were at a mastermind meeting a few weeks ago, and we were telling him about Klout. He said, I didn't know what it was and how does it matter. And we said, the main thing is the perks that you get. And we were explaining the perks, how people now are getting certain prizes and certain things because they have a higher Klout score. And so he was with his wife. They go back and forth. She's from Colombia, and they have a place in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and also down in Bogota, Colombia. So they were going back and forth. They were down in Bogota, and as things happen, schedules changed. They had a few extra meetings they needed to take in. They weren't able to get the original return flight. And so they had a few days later, they called their airline and said, gee, we need to change it. Our flight's going to come back another day. And the airline said, yes, we can do that, and it'll be $800 to make that change. And I thought, whoa, $800, that's a lot of money. And I'd have to agree with him on that. So he said, wait a minute. And he thought back to the conversation we had about Klout. And so he told the person at the airline, wait a minute, $800, that's not right. Look, here's who I am. Here's what my Klout score is and the number of followers I have and the people that I have. And don't take my word for it. Please check me out. Go online and see what it's like objectively. And then let me know what you can do. So they said, okay, we'll do this. And the airline really was very good. This particular airline that he works with is known for being overly helpful to customers, and I think that's a tribute to them. Well, they did. They went and checked him out. They looked at his Klout score. They looked at who he was, called him back a little bit later, and said, oh, Mr. Consul, we've checked you out. And by the way, for you, there is no fee. We're waiving the fee, and we're also going to move the two of you to the front part of the airplane. We're going to put you in better seats. We're going to do that just for you. Thank you very much for flying with us. That happened as a direct result of his Klout score. And because what he is. Because when you think about it, airlines, businesses, brands want people who are very influential saying nice things about them. Many times people are now being upgraded in hotels because of their Klout score. We've seen that Chevy Volt, for instance, wanted to find out people who were influential in the area of environment and cars. Those who like cars a lot and also like the environment. And so they said, here you go, here are the keys for a wonderful long weekend. Have these keys on a long weekend, and if you want to say something about us, great. You don't have to say anything, and you don't have to say anything nice. It's up to you, completely up to you whether you say anything at all. But here are the keys. We want you to do it. And that's really smart marketing, because now what a brand is doing is they're going to people who are highly influential in key areas, and they know that these people are already communicating a lot with others, and they want them saying nice things about them. That's worth more than just sending a lot of money out to television, radio, newspaper, and trying to just spray it out there to everybody and pray, the old spray and pray method, pray that maybe somebody will buy. This is where Klout is really changing the whole game.
And I think that that's critical to really understand. So what you're saying, Terry, is Klout really isn't a fad; it's a trend.
Yeah.
And it's the key point out here. Now, in your book, in Klout Matters, you talk about that Klout calculates over 12 billion data points in 400 key areas every day, determine one individual's. Well, 12 billion is a heck of a lot. Holy smokes!
Yeah, exactly.
And so.
I like that phrase, holy smokes. That is it. I think that's the technical term for it.
Okay, holy smokes. All right, so Terry, what are some of those areas they're looking at?
What they're looking at is, like, for instance, how many people responded to you when you sent out a tweet? You sent out a tweet on a particular subject. Well, how many people retweeted that? How many took that and mentioned you? They say, hey, I like what you're saying there. That is what matters. When you send out a post on Facebook, how many people will comment on that? How many will mention that? It's not how much you do and not how many followers you have. See, they've gone beyond the idea of people that would get fake followers. You go over to India and you can get 1,000 followers for so much money. Well, that's not real. You want people that genuinely respond and take action. And so that's the real key. And what it ultimately matters is not even your Klout score. What ultimately matters is how many people are actually buying. How many people say, yes, I like that. I'm going to put my dollars on the line. I'm going to click here, give you my credit card number, and I'm going to buy this thing. That's what matters. And so really it's just about basic business. You engage with people in a favorable way. You show them benefits that they can have by working with you, and as a result of that, you do better in business because you are helping them. What a concept. Help others, and you'll do better in business.
So, Terry, you're telling me that they are able to measure through the multiple click-throughs that people actually get out their credit card. That kind of scares me a little bit.
Well, what they're doing is they're saying people are able to, when you say something, this number of people go through and they say, yes, we like that. And not only the people, but also people that are highly influential. So, for instance, if you could get, let's say, Ellen DeGeneres, Bill Gates, and Barack Obama, three people who have very high Klout scores, to say, wow, I really like what Judith Briles is saying, and they respond favorably, that's going to mean a whole lot more than someone who maybe doesn't have as much influence. The key is finding those people who have a lot of influence and will say good things about you. And really, when you think about it, that has worked for thousands of years that way. When you can get people who are very influential in the tribe, whatever your tribe is, that they say good things, well, then that's how you will do even better. This has worked for centuries, and we're just now taking it into the digital world, and Klout is pioneering this in a wonderful, quantitative way that admittedly is not perfect. It's still improving, but it's a whole lot better than just, I think so-and-so is better than that, than this person, and it works a lot better.
All right, so Terry, we've said the Klout score a gazillion times, so let's talk about it. It's ranging from anyone from zilch to 100. I think that's the top score. Is that correct?
Yeah, 100 is the top.
All right, so it's going to be pretty frickin' difficult to get 100, and you just actually mentioned, Ellen and Obama, and those are going to be in the 90s, and they'll be top. So, what are the kind of breakdowns? So, where it is, what level are you a giant yawn? Put it bluntly. Where does someone just yawn? Where does someone start saying, "Well, wait a minute, maybe they have some influence"? Where is it? Because I know some companies actually do special perks for everyone with a Klout score over 50 or over 60 or fill in the blank. So where it is that where are marks?
Well, it depends on where you are. For instance, you're right on for instance, American Airlines had a promotion where they said anyone with a Klout score of 55 or higher would get a free day at their Admirals Club, regardless of who you're flying that day. So those that are flying, hey, that means a lot. You can go in there at the Admirals Club, you get the nice treatment and all that, just because you have a Klout score of 55 or higher. That was for a promotion they had at one time. It's over now, but they did that. But think about that from American Airlines' point of view. Hey, that's a pretty smart move, because now people who are flying get a chance to see it, and they go, oh, I like this. I might have to fly American Airlines a little bit more. I might even join their Admirals Club, because it's got some real benefits. And then it benefits the people that are attending, obviously, that are going there, and also benefits American Airlines, and they're selecting a key group of people. They're not looking at people who don't fly very much, and they're not looking at people who are not very influential. It's a really good way to do it. And so having that Klout score is important. And the beauty of it, Judith, is that a lot of people could have a much higher Klout score by a few simple steps. They don't have to go out and jump through a whole bunch of hoops. They probably already would have it, but they just need to know what to do. Some of the things we outline in the book, that you go through, do these things, and then, hey, you'll watch, and we've seen it with many people that we talk to. Their Klout score does have a significant boost then.
Okay, so here's what I want to, when you come back, I want you to, we're going to have a bottom of the hour break here. I want you to come back, tell us exactly what those ranges are and where they are that they really count. Secondly, I want you to talk about what the plus K is. How do you do it? Because, it's really, I'm unfamiliar with it, and I sure want to learn more. This is Judith Briles. My guest is Terry Brock. He's the co-author of a wonderful new book called Klout Matters. I'd suggest you get it. We'll be right back.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, with your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these on the Rockstar Radio Network.
Since 1987, Color House Graphics has set the standard for quality book production. Whether you decide to print a small quantity of books or need a large print run, depend on Color House to help you. You'll receive professional help and advice the moment you reach one of our representatives. If you mention hearing about us on your guide to book publishing, Judith Briles, we will provide you a discount on the first order you place. To speak with a project manager, call us toll-free at 800-454-1916 or visit us at www.colorhousegraphics.com.
Do you need postcards that make a statement? How about business cards, flyers, brochures, or NCR forms? Two Vets is the solution for all your printing needs. Providing services specially designed for authors, we deliver exceptional quality colored printing. Most important of all, we specialize in reducing your printing costs. No more waiting. No more standing in lines at your local printer. Online proofing. With our pricing tools calculator, you can get instant quotes on all your printing products, as well as shipping rates all over the United States. Just a few clicks of the mouse and you're on the way to discovering how easy and convenient online color printing should be. Contact our friendly, human account representatives. We recognize that you want answers, not voice prompts. Visit our website at www.tu-vets.com or call 1-800-894-8977.
When Ned Thompson and Harry Shore started Thompson Shore in 1972, they believed employees with great character would make up the best company. They were right. They hired people who were not only experts in bookmaking, but who were obsessed with quality and delivering exceptional customer service. Almost 40 years later, Thompson Shore remains a 100% employee-owned company. Ned and Harry knew that successful customer projects are a direct result of empowered employees. We specialize in all books for large and small publishers, creating beautiful and well-made books. We're dedicated to pleasing our customers by making the experience a good one from start to finish. The personal touch we have with our customers allows us to be innovative in solving their most difficult challenges. Our platform also ensures that we can remain flexible to meet our customers' unique needs and expectations. Our marketing kit can create buzz for your title, enhancing the promotion of your book during infancy. When you need to test the market to gauge your future sales, we can provide digitally printed books that will transition seamlessly into a larger offset run. From ebook to hard copy to delivery, our skillful customer service teams are at the ready to answer your most pressing question. At Thompson Shore, we know that making the highest quality books requires more than just best technologies. It requires superior customer service, professionalism to the trade, and commitment to environmental and social values. With these standards of excellence in place, you can be sure that we will always help you put your best book forward.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask on the Rockstar Radio Network. Coming up, you'll hear more about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
With me is Terry Brock. We're talking about Klout Matters. He is the co-author of a brand new book with Gina Carr. And I asked Terry when we came back to really break down. The Klout does score between 0 and 100. So what are the ranges that are kind of a giant yawn, Terry?
Well, the giant yawn would be if you're in 0 to 10 or 0 to 20, that's nice, but you really want to be in a higher level, particularly if you're an author. Particularly if you're writing a book. Matter of fact, that's something that was important to us in actually even writing this book by McGraw-Hill. They obviously wanted to look at our Klout score and see what it is and to make sure that it's at least in a respectable range, in a range where they would say, okay, this person has more influence because, hey, let's suppose you're a publisher of a major publishing house. You're the editor and you want to bring in authors. You got 100,000 authors every day going, hi, I'm wonderful, please publish my book. You've got to have some system to cull through that. To say, well, okay, we've got 100,000 proposals today for a book. Everyone says they're wonderful. Everyone wants me to read their massive book here. And you've got to find out, okay, what kind of influence does this person have? And so you need not just a Klout score. It's not the only thing. You're not going to use that alone. But that is a component. And it's an important component that goes into determining which authors are going to be selected now by publishing houses, as well as people looking at who really does have more influence. Which authors should I be reading? I can't read every book that's out there. So which ones are really most important? Klout is a way to figure out, ooh, this person has a little bit more influence than the other.
All right, so we have the yawn to nice, but no banana from 0 to 20. So what is 20 to what is the next?
I don't know if there's a specific way we can do that. I can say this, though.
In your opinion, as an expert in Klout Matters.
Yeah, as my opinion on that, having a score of 50 or higher puts you into upper bracket. If you have a score of 65 or higher, you're in the top 5%, according to Klout. And that's according to the people at Klout that we met with directly. So we sat down, talked with them, and they said, yes, that's where it is. If you can start getting in that upper 5%, you're in good shape. And so I would say that as an author particularly. If someone's an author, they want their book there, then look at what do you need to do. Say you're at 55 or you're at a 57, and you're thinking, okay, that's good, that's respectable, but you want to get up there in toward that 65 or higher. Well, then there's certain steps that you can take and do that, much like if you had a FICO score, the FICO score for credit, that's very popular now, and you walk in, you want to get a loan, and they go, nope, your FICO score is this, it's not quite here. There are certain steps you can take. You can complain about it, and many people can be, a certain way, and they can say, no, that's not right. I'm not a number. Well, banks are making determination on who gets a loan based on that FICO score. And now many publishers are looking at that. Movie studios right now are looking at which actors will they put into key roles based on their Klout score. Directors and producers are looking at that as a factor. So what you've got to look at, we can say, well, it doesn't matter, I'm not a number. Okay, true, you're not a number. You can have a FICO score of 0. But don't go out thinking they should give you a loan just because you comb your hair right and you look real pretty, at least according to you. You've got to look at what measure they are using and how they are considering what they're going to do. So I would say going for that 65 or higher is going to be a goal for authors.
All right, so let's say someone's at 64. They are on the cusp. And you're an author. And you've decided, Klout does matter for me. I wouldn't mind liking having an upgrade in hotel. I wouldn't mind having a few of these change waived if I can pull that off. And there are other perks that they do give, and you need to go into Klout.com and see what they are, giving to you to check that out. So, and I think that probably the Klout.com just going in there is something that people are unconscious about, that will come along. As they become more aware of what the influence factor is that it can do for them and grow that area. So, but let's say you're at the tipping point. What maybe 5 things could I do without breaking my brain and sucking all my time up to maybe get that goose over?
Yeah, well, one of the first things to do is go over to, as you said, go to Klout.com and connect your networks. For instance, you might be on Twitter already. You might be on Facebook already, but it's not connected on Klout. You have to give your permission. They're not going to do that without your permission. So with your permission, you say, yes, connect here. And you go over there to Klout and click on your profile, and then you'll be able to say, okay, link my Twitter account with Klout. And then Klout says, okay, we got you. We'll do that. We'll link my Facebook, my LinkedIn account. There's a few key areas and networks that you might be working with already, and you just don't know it, but you probably could have a much higher Klout score. For any author that is interested in this, I'd say definitely go for it. And if the author says, well, I don't care about it, fine. The beauty of where we are today is we have independently published books that are just wonderful. And Judith, you have helped so many people with that in so many ways. That is a real benefit of where we are today. But why not get this extra benefit? Because, hey, it doesn't cost you anything in money, and it costs you a little bit of your time to go over and click on that. And then, as we mentioned in the book, go through certain procedures. For instance, if there's something going on in the world today and you have an opinion about that and you have a credible position to take on that, you've written a book about it or you know a lot about it and you're writing a book on it, then comment on that. Make a comment and send that out to the people who are paying attention to you online. 2 of the key areas that are looked at and probably have more weight than others are Twitter and Facebook. If you're on either of those platforms or both, make sure that they are linked. And then put in comments, strategically think about how you can talk about what you're doing to get a favorable response there or for people to react to you. It doesn't always have to be favorable. If you say, well, I think so-and-so big-name celebrity is a jerk, and you put that in there and that generates a lot of interaction, well, you're still influential. I tend to be much more on the positive side and try to find the good things because, hey, we've got too much negativity in our world as it is. I think looking at the positive side would be good, and that would be a specific step that an author can take to really address that. If you're writing on, let's pick a subject, say you're writing a book on France in the 18th century, and you're talking about what happened, what led up to the revolution, et cetera, and all that, well, then when you see anything that relates to that, you can talk about it and say, this is very similar to what Louis the 16th went through, or it's very much like Versailles, and et cetera. If you're an expert in that area, start writing about that, commenting on it, and people who value that will then see that, and you'll come up on their radar, and they will respond to you. So you start building that level of expertise and recognition in those areas that you're writing about as an author.
Terry, you mentioned LinkedIn. One of the, I don't know how they go about and do a drill down LinkedIn. I can tell you that the Author U community in LinkedIn, which has a lot of comments go on, and there's over 2,000 members that interact. And as the moderator and organizer of that group, I go over and I comment on a lot of them. My gut tells me that Klout is not in, and that's really where the measurement should be, not on just the LinkedIn profile, because that doesn't connect with the Author U group. How can that work for me?
What it is you want to make sure that other people are seeing that. Groups, I think, are fabulous, and that's a way to do it. But the groups don't really affect your Klout score in LinkedIn or in Facebook when you're in those private groups. It's got to be something that is public. And if it's public, then it's there. So what you do is not either or, but both and. Be in the Author U group. I put a lot of exclamation marks behind that. Be in that group, be with your peers, help others, and genuinely contribute value. Don't be a parasite just taking from others. Be there as one who starts by giving lots of value. And then you take that out to the world, out to LinkedIn, and say, hey, if you're interested in this, be sure and check out this group. And put that out there in the public. So that will then generate some good Klout juice for you as you work within LinkedIn in general, and the same thing applies to Facebook.
So, for example, let me give you an example. We had someone who asked a question about, it was actually Balboa Press, which is a stealthy type partnership that Hay House has with Author Solutions, who is the giant publishing predator in the sky, and I have been after publicly many times on them, and that we've had over 345 comments on that one question, going back and forth. In fact, so many comments that I know that the attorneys for the class action suit follow our commentary involved in it. But so are you suggesting that you remind the regular LinkedIn channel that if you having publishing challenges, you want to make sure you might want to get into the Author U group to see what's being talked about with the predators?
Yes, absolutely. That would be important. Okay. So they see that, and I think that's a beautiful way to do it. It's very peaceful, and it's a very way of saying, hey, these guys are rascals, whoever they might be, in whatever other area it might be. You say, these guys are rascals, and you want to avoid. To find out more information, go here, and there's your URL shortener that links them over to it.
All right, here we go. We'll be right back. A lot of information flowing here. Terry Brock's my guest. He's the author of Klout Matters, and it does matter. I'm Judith Briles.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these on the Rockstar Radio Network.
Writing and reading are moving to the cloud. WaveCloud represents a whole new community for writers and readers to connect, communicate, evaluate, and share. Writers hone their craft and build their business. Readers build their favorites. Sign up for updates at wavecloud.com.
The book shepherding concept is simple. The publishing world is changing, and so must you. You need an experienced shepherd and a guide to partner with you as you create, strategize, develop, publish, and achieve your publishing goals. You can't do it alone without paying the price. You can spend your money creating a book that turns out to be so-so, or you can create a book that looks and feels classy, builds your brand, and is a financial success, a bestseller. It's your choice. You choose. You need the book shepherd. Publishing is riddled with obstacles, sometimes nightmares for the author. You don't need problems. You want solutions. Dr. Judith Briles will shepherd you through the maze and the chaos. At times, she's had to step in and rescue a book that has been sabotaged by a publisher, or by a publishing service provider, or sometimes even the author themselves. Judith Briles is the book shepherd if you want to create a book with no regrets. Give her a call today, 303-885-2207. That's 303-885-2207, or email her at judith@briles.com. By the way, Briles is spelled B-R-I-L-E-S. Follow Judith on Twitter at MyBookShepherd and on Facebook at The Book Shepherd.
At Total Printing Systems, customer service is our priority. We are located in Southern Illinois. Our employees have an average of 18 years experience and know that customer relationships are important to our continued success. We have been a short-run book printer for nearly 40 years and always stay at the forefront of technology. Our niche is from 1 to 5,000 copies. Today, we offer digital, black and white, and 4-color high-speed inkjet printing, a cost-effective way to introduce color into your short-run titles. We, of course, offer traditional offset printing as well. Bindery is done in-house, from adhesive case binding to PUR perfect binding to mechanical binding of all types, including side sewing. We provide warehousing, kitting, distribution, inventory management, a new print-on-demand facility, streaming browser-based ebooks, and bookstore. Call us at 1-800-465-5200 for a quote on your next book project. You can also visit our website at www.tps1.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask on the Rockstar Radio Network. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Well, we're talking about feeding the Klout beast today. And with me is Terry Brock. He is the co-author of Klout Matters, and it really does matter. It is what the buzz is that people are talking about. I don't believe it's a fad. It's definitely here to stay. It's the trend. I think you will have. I'm confident that there will be a lot of knockouts along the way that people will say that we can do it bigger and better. But the fact is, Google started all the search stuff in the beginning. And they are the beast in the room. There are other people out there who do search and all that. But Google is a noun, it's a verb, and it's an adjective. And I think Klout will be the noun, the verb, and the adjective in the influential measurement system. How do you like that, Terry?
I like that. I think that's tweetable. Very good. And in today's world, that's a very high compliment. That is tweetable.
All right, so we wanted to hit a couple of more things before we go into these last final tips. So that you're going to start, first of all, you're going to get onto your profile on Klout.com, Klout.com. You're going to make sure all your networks are connected, your Twitter, your Facebook, your LinkedIn, Pinterest, anything else, that whatever it has, get up there and connect with those. Secondly, you want to understand that Klout, that what you do to enhance your Klout score has everything to do with engagement and contributing value to the ongoing discussion. What other little tidbits, Terry, can we pop in here?
There's a whole bunch of them, and in fact, that's what the book is about. But let me give a few that we can really use right now. For instance, what you want to do is make sure that you're contributing value that people like, that they find beneficial. So you've got to do your research. You can't just jump out and say, hi, I think this is wonderful, based on your gut reaction. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. You're shooting those arrows blindfolded. Instead, do the serious research. Find out what are the pains that people are going through right now. What are their hurts? It's kind of like writing a book. That's where authors will have an advantage, because you have to do your research first, whatever it is, to find out, is there a market to learn about this subject that I have? Find out what they want, and then answer it in a fun way, in a clever way, in a way that really provides information for them within the context of the social media. Obviously, if you're using Twitter, you got 140 characters, and really you want to make it 120 so that people can then retweet you. That's where the power comes. Make sure that it's out there, and then have those links to content. One of the things I did, I was chief enterprise blogger with Skype, and the way we would put out information is we'd write a story, we'd write about a new development, and we put something out there. I'd do an interview with people, and we'd do a video interview over Skype, put it on the post, and then we would have it scheduled that at, say, 12 o'clock next Tuesday Eastern Time, we're going to release this. And so we'd send it out, and then simultaneously, we would also send out the tweets, we would send out a Facebook notice, and a notice on LinkedIn. All of that at the same time, so that people then saw there's something going on out here at this, and here's where you go to find the information. Let your blog post be the real hub where you have content and you're giving away real value, not just selling a bunch of stuff, but you're giving real value where people can get information. That's how you do it. It's not real simple. It's not real easy, but it is simple. It's something you do, create compelling content.
All right, so what else besides creating compelling content?
So create that compelling content, provide a way for people to interact with you. One thing, for instance, talk about important events. That's something that you'll want to do. So when something's going on in the news that is related to what you're doing, you make it a natural. Now, don't force it, because that's where a problem can come. For instance, we saw people that are saying with the Japanese tsunami that happened a few years ago, they started saying, oh, this is a bad thing. I really feel for the people in Japan who've just encountered that tsunami. And they would put that out there and use the word tsunami. Well, that's they were trying to generate it, but it didn't have anything to do with their product. And people came back and said, wait a minute, we see what you're doing. You're gaming the system, and they slammed them hard. So make it a natural. Don't try to force something that's going to be there that really isn't there. And I think another thing, know your visitors. Know the people that are coming through. Get to know them and respond to them. See, in the past, people would say, we're just going to send out a message to everybody. The real key of social media is you engage, you interact. That means, yes, you sit down and you physically type to them. You respond to them. If all you're doing is sitting out saying, hi, I'm wonderful, come buy my stuff, here's my stuff, I'm blasting this out to the world, that's obnoxious and rude, and those kind of people don't go very far in social media. Those that say, hey, I hear what you're saying, yes, here's a way that can help you, and they genuinely help, not just in their area of expertise, but if someone says, for instance, Judith, you're in Denver. If I went to Denver and I say, you know, I'm moving here, I'm thinking I'm going to be there, and on your side of town, do you know a good dentist that can help me? You would say, well, Terry, I'm not a dentist, but I use so-and-so, and this is a good person. That's genuine help. It's not giving you anything because you're not a dentist, but you would help me in a genuine, real way, not always directly related to who you are and what you're doing, but you're saying, yeah, here's a good dentist. And I say, yeah, but I'm looking for a good Italian restaurant on that side of town. Oh, Terry, a good one is over here at 4th and Main. It's such and such a restaurant. It's really good. Those kinds of things can help you in social media because, hey, you're just being a decent, genuine human being that's helping others. And doing those types of things help not only with a Klout score, but more importantly, in life and in business.
I often get people, especially on the Author U group, ask questions that they're, because of some of the things that I want to say, that I wouldn't say that, well, they could be scandalous, but I don't want to have them written out in public. So I will just really say, you know, contact me directly. I'd rather have a private conversation with you. I'm going to give you 15 minutes of my time. Here is my phone number, my email, go. And I will put that out publicly. I put that out publicly, and I will engage them that way to say, you know, I will help you. I don't want to write it out. And frankly, Terry, sometimes it takes me longer to write out because I have to really think it through, where I can just say, listen, you get out a pencil, here it goes, you pay attention because, you know, here's what I'll tell you to do. So that's way. Okay, so no rude, no obnoxious. What a couple of other key things here in our last couple of minutes.
I think one of the things you want to do is, as you mentioned before, feed your beast. That's important. It's a phrase that I got from Robert Scoble, who is a very famous blogger, and I think he's right. It's like you get this going, and you've got to feed that. Every day you've got a blog, or you've got some way that you're sending out information, and people can get started quickly. They go, oh, yeah, I got some ideas, but how long is that sustainable? You've got to continue to do it, and it comes down to work. That means you got to, and in our book, we say, here's several podcasts to listen to. Here's several blogs to visit where you can feed your own brain. And then as you see that, of course, you're not going to copy what someone else has, but what you do is you say, I like what this person's saying. I like what she's saying over here. I like what this lady's saying over here. Really good information. Let me take that, kind of mull it around in my own, and come up with something that's uniquely mine. So doing that, and on the flip side as well, be sure and become a good curator. Be someone that says, hey, Judith Briles just said such and such really well. I like the way she said this. Here's the link. And be able to tout others so that now people know when they go to your site, they're going to get a lot of good information. Some tools that we mentioned in the book are really good for that would be Feedly. Feedly. Feedly gives you the ability to read these on your iPad or your smartphone or your computer, and then when you like that, you are able to link it over to send it out to a place like Buffer app, another good tool. Buffer app gives you the ability to then schedule that. So you don't put out 40,000 things all within 5 minutes. That would be bad. But you space it out over time, over a period of time, so that people now who are following you realize, wow, when I follow this person, I'm getting really good information, not just on what they're saying, but also they're recommending, hey, this report over here in Harvard Business Review was really good. This report over here in Forbes magazine was really good. This little article from Huffington Post was very good. And so now you've become a curator and someone that people value as a knowledge source so they can get ideas and solve problems that they're experiencing.
So, Terry, how is Buffer app different from Hootsuite?
Buffer app gives you the ability to schedule that at different times that you specify. One of the things I like about it, I use both, by the way. I use Hootsuite and I love it. Every day I'm using Hootsuite.
I do
but
too.
I also am using Buffer app. Buffer app gives me the ability to say, I choose to send out 3 posts a day on Facebook, and it schedules these 3 a day at given times that I want. And I say, I want it going out at, for instance, I don't remember an exact time, to say 10 o'clock Eastern time. You say 10 a.m. Eastern time. I also want another one at 3 p.m. Eastern time and another one at, say, 6 p.m. You choose what you want because based on your market, certain times are better. Buffer app gives you the ability to do that so that also you're not just putting in so many all at once. You space it out according to what you want.
But so does Hootsuite. Hootsuite spreads them out.
Yeah, Hootsuite will spread them out. With Buffer app, you get a little bit more capability of fine-tuning it and being able to say not just in one media, but in several as well.
All right, so I'll go play with that one. All right, so one final thing to say. We've got 1 minute before I need to wrap up.
I would say that Klout is something that does matter. Yeah, that's the name of the book, Klout Matters. But also, it really matters because this is where our world is today. Get to know it, understand what it is, and find out the benefits that it has for you, for brands, as an author, how you can ultimately sell more books by having a good knowledge of why Klout matters.
Great. And so for all our listeners, Terry Brock is going to be in Denver, Colorado on November 16th at authoru.org. Yeah, authoru.org. You can go to authoru.org and just look we have a book camp coming up. There's a special rate going on. I would encourage you to, and there is great airfare rates. You can fly in and come in, get signed up because you'll get a copy of his book. I'm Judith Briles. Thank you, Terry, so much. You're listening to Author U, your guide to book publishing. We'll be back next week.
Thank you for being a part of Your Guide to Book Publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles.